which by the way, the Bush tax cuts, 70% of the Bush tax cuts went to people making less than $75,000 a year. Now you say, how can that be? Elimination of the lowest tax bracket completely. The family tax credit and the marriage penalty deduction. Two of those were means tested, so they didn't benefit the rich. And another little thing to remember when you talk about taxes, 50% of American taxpayers pay 2.7% of the total tax liability in this country. 70% of the tax liability is paid by 10% of taxpayers, and 86% is paid by 25% of taxpayers. We have a very, very progressive tax system in America.
What we have is the reason why they pay that much, because that's where most of the wealth. What's happened in the 90s and 2000s, it's like what this gentleman has said here, the middle class has been decimated while all the wealth has gone up to the upper classes because they have money in stocks. The stocks are doing well, the corporations are doing well, the people that work for the corporations, they saw their jobs going into time. So there's been a wealth.
All right, let's get back. Do you want to take a poll on the debt limit? All those in favor of increasing the debt limit without strings attached, raise your hand. All those in favor of raising the debt limit with significant a significant regime to control the growth of government.
Could you repeat that, please?
Well, it's hard. Who asked the question? Why don't you pose the question? Yeah, did you ask me the question?
Oh, yes.
Here,
What I wrote down was
you drove all the way from Atkinson. You ought to be able to speak twice.
we shouldn't vote on the debt unless there are agreements which include strict spending controls going forward that are included in the increase in the debt limit. No debt limit without spending control.
How many people believe support that? All right. Lastly, and I'm not counting, how many people support not raising it under any circumstances at all, ever? Now, I wanted to say one other thing before I forget. On the 4th of May, where's Matt Haggard? When is my telethon? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday night? 4th or 5th of May?
The 5th is a Thursday.
Okay, so I'm having it on the 4th. Just be advised, I'm having every other week or at least once a month, I'm having a telephone town meeting. And these are not your boring, nasty stuff that you get. I'm calling on anybody who calls, no screening of the calls, and I'm doing polls every 15 minutes for 1 hour on issues, and then I'm telling what they are. So I hope all of you will call in and express your views. I hope you get a call so you can do it. All right, go ahead.
The young lady right
Oh, I was just hoping to do what you did exactly, and that is not reflect back on and lay responsibility for things that have happened so that we can attend to whether or not we need to do something now. That's a very long debate, and it's a huge issue, and I don't think that our attention needs to go there right now. So you did a good job, Lou. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Hi, Audrey Bethel from Hillsborough. I just wanted to say I'm glad that you do not support the Northern Pass in its current state of proposal. And I wanted to just voice that I see, you are committed to clean energy and sustainable sources. And I just want to make sure, I personally don't think nuclear power is ever green energy. Because there's just too many different factors that are not really environmentally conscious. And I just wanted you to know that I hope that you're thinking about green jobs in terms of green energy and things for our country that have to do with a real nice patchwork of different sustainable energy solutions scattered throughout the nation.
Thank you. I'll make one quick observation.
Yep.
I have spent the last 3 or 4 months traveling this district from Hillborough all the way to Atkins, talking to people that I've seen before. So the most exciting visit I've had the whole time, and you're never supposed supposed to use superlatives in this business, was today. I went to the White Mountain National Forest Visitor Center in Thornton, just off of 93, just west of 93. And they have a pellet boiler in there, which is fine. You know, nice idea. Next to it, they had a gasifier with a 6-cylinder Chevy. This is the U.S. government. I used 6-cylinder Chevy V6 engine connected to a 30 kilowatt generator armature, and they're using the gas from the wood pellets for cogeneration and heat. And it's only 30,000 watts. This is what I've been dreaming about, is small scale, cost-effective cogeneration. And New Hampshire should be the state where we develop these technologies. We've done that now for 200 years. We've been at the crest of technology development. Now, it happens to be a USDA project, and unfortunately, the technology for the pellet boiler comes from Europe, trade of some sort. So it is important that we have free trade, because 25% of this economy is based upon that. But it's also important that the other countries that we're trading with abide by the same rules that we have. So I will look at that legislation and get back to you.
Thank you very much.
Bill, come over here.
Yes, Wayne.
Yes, Wayne Green. Some of you may be familiar with me. No, I guess not. All right. Back onto the healthcare bit. My area of expertise is new technologies. And if you will Google Wayne Green, you'll find out some of the ones that I've started, like cell phones and personal computers, which we started out of Hillborough, New Hampshire. Well, there's a couple of new technologies that are going to totally change the world. Number one is in health. The whole idea of healthcare is going to blow away. We know how to cure any illness with no drugs at no cost. Scientists have discovered this. Several doctors are doing it. And if you go to waynegreen.com, you'll learn more about that. But it's very simple. And it explains how you can cure any illness and never get sick of it. The body is capable of doing that if you stop abusing it. And as I say, this has been thoroughly tested. I've been writing about it in my editorials. If any of you get New Hampshire To-Do magazine, I've been explaining about that in there. I will be giving a talk on 3 new technologies that will totally change the world in Hancock on May 2nd. Number 1 is healthcare, which is going to blow away. Imagine curing cancer days before death, total cure without fail. Go to drday.com. Now, the second one, which is going to change everything, is cold fusion, which was laughed at and sneered at, and I published a journal on it. And they are now starting to manufacture units over in Italy. And that is going to put oil out of business totally. We're talking about a unit in the home, about the size of a dishwasher that will supply all of the heat and all of the electricity that you could use at about 100th the cost of oil. Proven technology. And like every new discovery, scientific discovery, the establishment is fought vigorously. I don't think you can name any major scientific discovery that wasn't fought by the establishment. So anyway, these are coming along. Another one that I'm going to talk about is a battery for a car about the size of the shoebox that will power a car for 500 miles and recharge in a few seconds, making it almost no cost to drive cars. And this is coming up. No more gas stations and so forth. And look at what personal computers have done for us. The communications we have now is a result of that. And we did all of that from Hillborough. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
And I have good solutions to jobs and to unbloating the government. We can get every government department cut itself in half in 3 years with everybody enthusiastically cooperating. We know how to do that.
Very helpful, thank you.
Congressman, thanks for being here tonight. First of all, I want to thank you and the House for addressing entitlements for the first time really in a serious way ever. And the House has acknowledged that Medicare is going broke and that the fastest way to kill it is to do nothing. And I think tonight you're hearing some of the consequences of addressing a very popular program that is going broke. My concern tonight is about Libya and the President's actions in committing the United States to another military campaign without any meaningful consultation with Congress. And I think that really endangers the checks and balances that are built into our system. And I'm wondering what Congress is doing to reassert its role in foreign policy.
First of all, Congress versus the President for the War Powers Act. It's been debated now since Korea. Johnson got the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. George Bush got a resolution out of Congress on Iraq. President Obama would like a stamp of approval for Libya, but he knows that he can't get it. The situation in Libya is somewhere between perplexing and frightening, because so fast we are getting to the spot where we can't, to a point where we have very few options available. Libya, for some reason, it was okay for Hezbollah to take over Lebanon, for Tunisia to fall, for Egypt to fall. There's a problem in Bahrain. There's issues in Algeria, but when it comes to Libya, we have a war going on. You can't justify this war on the basis of human rights. I am just as concerned about what Muammar Gaddafi is doing when he drops cluster bombs on civilians. It is gruesome, it is barbaric, and he ought to pay for that. But Libya's 2 million barrels per day, it is oil, goes exclusively to Europe. And it is, in fact, part of the problem that the world faces is volatility and energy prices. But what's now happened is the President made a, 7 or 10 day campaign with U.S. assets and then vanished. Now NATO is taken over. And the French are sending in some people, but we don't know who these people are that we're supporting. We don't know whether they're going to be on our side or not. We certainly know that Gaddafi is not a great figure, but I used to be critical of both the Clinton administration and the Bush administration for not having a defined mission. Well, in Iraq or Afghanistan. Now, I am absolutely clueless. What does Congress do about this? Well, there's a lot of, this is not an issue that is partisan. There are a lot of Republicans and Democrats that support what the President is doing. John McCain, for one, is a supporter, I believe, of the President's position. He doesn't think he's done enough, actually, at this point, I don't think. But I believe that there should be some sort of a significant debate in Congress and a vote on whether we should be there and continue to. Well, we're not there, but what our position should be vis-a-vis the NATO countries and Libya, because indirectly we are supporting this effort through NATO. Sounds like a terrible idea to sell at a $15 lot.